Give it all you can.
Good evening everybody, welcome to Sonic Sim Racing, Season 7, Round 1, jumping right into the action, into our first qualifying session of the season, starting out with a very full lobby, 17 runners, 20 minutes to qualify. It's going to be a busy track. Guys are going to want to get out there. Make sure they get a lap time down. So the venue for today is Misano. So it's Marco Simoncelli. The 4 major tracks, 5 major tracks in Italy. We're visiting 3 of those tracks this season. Fortunate for Magello, it's not on the game, otherwise we'd probably be visiting it too. See if we've got a whole bunch of cars now out on their out laps, starting their fast laps. There are some guys watching the stream. Thanks to everyone who's watching, thanks to everyone who's joined the stream. Let me know how does it sound. Is it loud enough? Is the voice too loud? Whatever. You know how it sounds. So far no times on the screen. 6 drivers have remained in the pits. The other 11 all out on circuit, getting out there immediately as the session started, wasting no time. 17.5 minutes to go. Welcome to SAP 1, Killer Bean. In the comment section, you should be out on the track. Why aren't you out on the track? Times as of yet. We ride on board with Nick Leon. This is something they have added to the game. We do have a few more camera angles to look at now. So there is only one problem. You're going to see me jumping through the menus every time I want to switch car. That was a quick lap. It's our first lap of the session. It's a 1:34.8. Earlier on in the week, guys were talking about mid-34s, and now guys are talking about lap 33s. So times have gotten faster as guys have been practicing throughout the week. It's going to be a close session. We've got 3 times now up on the board. Labour second, just a 1/10 of a second off the pace. Roadrunner going to third. As I say that, he goes fourth. Gavin goes third. And then our pace takes third. Positions changing all the time. Of some of these camera angles. Ride with the judge in the GTR. No time from him just yet. Trying to get that first benchmark done. See where he sits. this final corner. He should set a lap time now unless he went off circuit and set an invalidated one, and as I say that, commentator's curse is a thing. He goes wide at the final corner. Everyone out on track, with the exception of Voss. 17 runners. Don't know if you want to be starting from the back. Would be quite a tall order. On the other hand, could be a huge benefit if half the field decides to get carried away in the first sector of the track, especially that turn 1. It's a lot of cars heading off into turn 1. Hopefully not one of those 17 guys miss a braking point. Things could get ugly. Times carry on coming in. 11 drivers now have set lap times. Surpresa, your top runner so far, 1:34.3. Times pretty low already for this early on in the session. Quickly on, almost half a second adrift in second. We've got Clay third, Roadrunner fourth, JD in fifth, Nizmax sixth, Kuda in seventh. Got Eleanor Pace in eighth. Gavpig in 9th, Legend 10th. Legend does have a little bit more than that. Saw that in the practice session before this. Get that car further up the top 10. We have some new names. Mike in 11th. Currently in the pits. Boucher 12th. With his first lap time, 3.3 seconds adrift, and then the judge. Currently your final timed runner. E-Racing sets a lap time, just 3 drivers yet to set a lap time. Those are Sania, Springbok Gamer, and Voss. If anybody knows Sania in the chats and I'm pronouncing it wrong, let me know. But I think that's right, Sania. This Max goes second, just 3/10 adrift. It's in the Porsche. 5 manufacturers making up the top 5. Over McLaren, a Porsche, an Audi, Ferrari, and a Bentley. We have a second Bentley in 6th, second Porsche in 7th, 3 Porsches out on track, 3 Ferraris out on track, 3 Bentleys out on track, as well as 3 Audis. And then we have some privateers. 1 GTR, 1 Lexus, just the 1 Lamborghini. Or does it feel like I'm missing someone? And Cleon in the pits, on his way out of the pits. Nizmax in the pits. Roadrunner second, just pips that time of Nizmax to take second away. Nothing in it, half a second in the top 3. 6/10 in the top 4. The second covered the top 7. Sania has set a lap time. That first lap time for him will put him provisionally in 6th position. Just a scratch under 0.8 of a second away from the leader. This man here, Sania and Surpresa, very close in the practice times prior to this session. Expect these times to get closer. Just under 10 minutes to go. We're at the business end of qualifying. obviously we have the rule no parking on the side of the track and disappearing to the pits. You have to drive back to the pits. So just 9.5 minutes remaining. If you're out on track, you've got to do the business now. If you're in the pits, you're doing the final adjustments. What else can you get out of the car? No movement from Foss. He still remains in the pits with no lap time. So presume his strategy is to start from the back and maybe make the most of possible carnage. Hope we don't see carnage though. I hope we see everybody making it through turn 1 pretty uneventfully. Said earlier, Sania and Perez are very close in the timings in the practice session prior to the qualifying, and now you can see just 0.2 of a second. Sania has taken provisional pole for Ferrari. Still 5 manufacturers in the top 5. Order now Ferrari, McLaren, Audi, Porsche and Bentley. Nick Leon in the second of the Ferraris. He's in 6th, 0.9 of a second adrift from provisional pole. He goes around the final corner now, looking to improve, looking to close this gap. That was an outlap. We saw him coming out of the pits earlier. There will be no improvement just yet. Keep our eyes on him. He is one of the faster runners. Roadrunner currently in 4th. Top Audi. Nick Leon has gone 3rd. Nicely done. He has now broken the 5 manufacturers in the top 5. We have 2 Ferraris in the top 3. Sandwiching a McLaren in between them. Still a pretty big gap between the top 3, half a second. But then after that, from 3rd down to 7th, another half a second. We have these close battles and then a gap, and then a smattering of cars close together again, and then a gap. Should be an interesting race if those times translate to race pace. Good evening to Mrs. Judge in the comment section. Always good to have you here on a Thursday night, watching the progress. Obviously supporting the judge, currently in 15th place in the Nissan GTR. He is out on track. Let's have a look what he's up to. So currently as it stands, your provisional pole sitter is Sania, newcomer to SSR, making his debut as far as I know. And he's followed by Nick Leon. Nick Leon's gone into 2nd place, so 2 Ferraris on the front row so far with 5.5 minutes to go. Spreza, good enough for 3rd, 2.5 tenths cover the top 3. And we've got Clayton in 4th, he's closed that gap. 4 tenths cover the top 4. Roadrunner still in 5th. This match still 6th for the top running Porsche. And we've got JD 7th. Gavin, sole running Lamborghini, currently 8th. 1.5 seconds adrift. it has been a while. The commentaries and the stream has been a bit on and off of late, but we should have full coverage of season 7. So that you can do on a Thursday night for the next 7 weeks or so. Nia still leads, Nick Leon still second. First and second still sitting in the pits with 4 minutes to go. Will they have one final run, or do they think they have enough? Spreza out on track. 2.5 tenths adrift of that front row. Love to get on the front row, getting into turn 1. Want as little in front of you as possible, especially with this massive field behind you. Now with Nizmax. Still 6th, top running Porsche. Gavin, 8th. So the lap times I was given prior to qualifying were exaggerated. I asked what people thought pole would be, and they were saying a 33 flat. Well, that's a little bit off. 9 tenths, almost a second, unless somebody's got a real shocker that they're waiting to surprise everyone with. Sprezza's still out on track, looking for a way onto that front row. Just can't improve his current lap time. 2.5 tenths adrift. Another Ferrari, 3rd Ferrari on the day. The other 2 Ferraris on the front row so far. Legend. It's in 12th. Showing good pace. To remember about endurance racing, it's not all about qualifying. Not all about who's fastest on that single lap. You can get the most out of a car on a single lap. So who's going to be able to get this car to the finish line in the fixed amount of time, in an hour and a half. Spend as little time in the pits as you can. Get as little damage as you can. Stay out of trouble. Stay consistent. If you can stay within 1.7 seconds of the leader throughout the race, just do less pit stops than the leader, well, then you're going to be in front of him, not the leader anymore. So just consistency. So there is hope for the guys that are further back in the field. It's not all hope is lost for them as of yet. We'll see how this pace translates to race pace. Things usually look very different. See, this time round there should be no cut in the stream. Should go straight to the race. Will be a short period where drivers are just doing the final touch-ups to their car, to the setup, to their planned pit stops. So there will be a pause before the formation lap commences. And I believe we will have a full formation lap around the Misano circuit, and then we'll be underway. Just half a minute, 30 seconds just about to go in the session. As it stands, Ferrari still holding on to that front row, both of them in the pits. Spreza in the McLaren, doing what he can to find his way onto that front row. 4th place isn't going to get any better than that for play. He's in the pits with no time remaining. Roadrunner in 5th, looking to improve. Nizmax still out on track in 6th, looking to improve. JD and Gavin out on track, as well as Mike, Legend and Boucher. The rest of your runners: Sania, Nick Leon, Clayton, Eleanor Pace, Huda, Springbok Gamer, B Racing, The Judge and Force have all decided that is where they will end for qualifying. That is the end of qualifying. We'll see if timer has just hit 0. And look at that, we haven't been disconnected. So finally, it's an interesting qualifying session. We still have some cars out on track. If you crossed the finish line before the time was over, you can still finish that time within that minute and 20 seconds you see on your screen. So some guys will still be looking to improve on their very last run. Probably your best chance now, because the track's going to be as clear as you're probably going to find it in the whole session. 6 cars out on track. Preza, Nizmax, JD, Legend, Voucher and V Racing all looking to improve on their times. Nizmax comes into the pits. 6th is where he will stay. Right now with JD. Preza has come into the pits as well. So just 3 cars left out on circuit. As I say that, that's 2, 1 and gone. That's the end of the session. Let me try to go through these names as quickly as I can before they disappear. Sania takes pole position from Nick Leon by just a tenth and a half. Suppressor 3rd. Then we got Play in 4th, Roadrunner 5th, Nizmax 6th, Eleanor Pace in 7th, JD in 8th, Gavin 9th, Kuda 10th. Then outside the top 10 we've got Mike, Legend, Voucher, Springbok Gamer in 14th, B Racing 15th, the Judge in 16th, and no time from Voss. Voss will start in the 3rd of the Audis from 17th place. So as I said, there will be a bit of a break just until these guys can finish up their setups, final tweaks. Don't get the calculations on the fuel wrong. Don't want to see anyone running out of fuel. Not gonna mention any names, but if he's watching, he knows who he is. There's a season you ran out of fuel a couple of times. Let's not do that again. This is just we'll go through the point structure. See, your top 15 finishers will fall within the points. First place 30 points, as you can see there on your screen. Second place 27, third 25, and all the way down to 15th place you get 5 points. Obviously 17 runners today, so if everyone were to finish, 2 of those runners would finish outside the points. Finishing outside the top 15 means you will get 1 point. Obviously, we are at Misano for round 1, season 7 of Sonic Sim Racing, just waiting for these guys to finish up on their setups. You watch them as they are all lined up on track. Another 2 minutes to go. If you're listening, everybody remember to ready up. Don't want to see anybody popping up in the pits, starting from the pit lane.
30 seconds. 20 seconds. 10 seconds.
that we had some technical difficulties, but we're back now. No matter how much you prepare, there's always technical difficulties. Getting back to the race, obviously you have had visuals this whole time, so you could have seen for yourself. Nick Leon leads the race from Sorpresa, from Sania. Those positions have not changed for the past couple of laps. They have sort of settled into those positions. Sania led the race from pole position and then ran wide. Things got a little bit nasty, but he was able to regain his position in third place. Roadrunner still fourth. He's been there for much of the race so far. Eleanor pace fifth, and then Clayton in sixth. Kuda seventh, Nizmax eighth. And then we have Mike 420 in the second of the McLarens. Still 17 runners, so we haven't lost any drivers yet. Fantastic to see. It'd be great to have 17 runners at the end of 90 minutes. Leon leads from Sorpresa, that gap 2.1 seconds now. Cars starting to settle down into positions. Madness of the race start calming down. Max 8th. Legend seems to have settled into 9th for the time being. He's in the third of the Ferraris. Good day for Ferrari so far. All three Ferraris in the top 10. Two of them in the top 3. Springbok Gamer just outside the top 10. He's in 11th place. And the only Lexus, the lonely Lexus. I know there's a lot of that. Maybe, I don't know, is there a lot of Lexus fans? But I'm going to be calling it I'm calling it a turd. It's a turd. It's a turd. Springbok Gamer in the Toyota. Love it. Gaucho in 12th. Settled there for the time being, but he's coming under pressure from JD. Just a 10th of a second behind him. Those are the two Bentleys. Closest battle on track at the moment. We also have B Racing all over the back of Legend, looking to take that 9th place away. It's Porsche versus Ferrari. Nizmax on the back, Akuda. Porsche versus Porsche. Battle for 7th place. This battle's all over the track. I love it. Let's hope these cars don't get spaced out and we have a boring middle of the race. Hopefully things can stay like this. The longer the better. Nizmax getting really close, just 0.3 of a second behind, I want to say his teammate, but it's not. They're just two independent Porsches. Two Porsches running line of stern. Nizmax has tried getting past. They even went side by side for a time being. They maintain those positions, 7th and 8th for the time being. Keep going. It's only lap 6. 1 hour and 20 minutes to go. 10 minutes into the race. Give you a driver's view. What does Nismax see? It doesn't look that fun, does it? Can't see the apexes. It depends if he's using this. I think this one's a little worse. That gap between him and Kuda was a lot closer. It's up to 7/10 of a second now. Maybe just giving himself a break before he attacks again. Terrible camera angle there. It almost looked like someone went off track. What is happening with your leader up front in the Ferrari, Nick Leon, in a blue Ferrari, may I add, not a very common sight, a light blue and neon green Ferrari. He leads the race from Sorpresa by 3.1 seconds, so that gap continuing to grow ever so slightly. He is still in third, 1.2 seconds adrift of the McLaren. Hasn't really fought for that second place as of yet. Car does look a little battered. Wonder if he got any damage at all. Still going quick. Only man, if he does have damage, I can't imagine it's too bad. Or he's managing it very well. Roadrunner holding on to fourth. Held on to that position for much of the race. Just really created a bit of a bubble between the top three, himself, and the gap down to fifth. Eleanor has clay all over the back of his Audi. Bentley wants to get past, break into the top five. Battles all over the circuit, trying to keep up. Nismax trying to get past Kuda, 7/10 of a second is the gap. B Racing trying to get past Legend, 3/10 of a second is the gap. Boucher trying to get past JD, 9/10 of a second is the gap. Now Sania getting close to the McLaren. Still 7th, holding on to 7th, but he's got Nismax all over his mirrors. Been like this for a while, absorbing the pressure well. Now Nismax goes to the inside. Nicely done. Does he hold on to it or does he outbrake himself? Will Kuda come back at him? He tries to come back at him. Just enough traction out of the corner. Just gets it right. Nismax takes the position, the Porsche swap positions. Kuda hasn't given up on that position just yet. We're going to keep our eyes on this. It's all over the back of Nismax. Keep our eyes on that. We're going to keep our eyes on this too. Legend coming under all sorts of pressure now. Doesn't just have one car behind him, he has two cars behind him. B Racing 1/10 of a second, and then Springbok Gamer all over the back of B Racing. So we got three cars in a single frame, racing for position, racing for that 9th place. And then further up the order in 3rd place, Sania continuing to close that gap to the McLaren, now 7/10 of a second, looking to restore the Ferrari 1-2. Roadrunner holding on to 4th as he has been. Eleanor in 5th, so that's Audi's in 4th and 5th. Clay in 6th, Got a nice comfortable gap. There's Max in 7th. Seems to have just got a breather away from Kuda. Almost a second that gap. B Racing off the circuit, Legend off the circuit. We didn't see what happened there, but Springbok Gamer has obviously taken those positions. You don't see it on your timing screens just yet, but when they go over the next timing beam, Springbok Gamer should be 9th. Legend will be 10th. And B Racing goes off circuit again. And that will allow JD to go side by side in the Bentley. And there we go. JD gets past B Racing. B Racing loses another position down to 13th. And that's how quickly things can go wrong. Legend still inside the top 10 despite that mistake. Has to just get his head down, forget about that. Forget about the mistake. Just keep on clocking in the lap times. Springbok Gamer picked up 9th place as a result of that incident, where the 2 cars in front of him left the track. Kuda now starting to lose touch with the Porsche. 1.3 seconds. As Max sets his sights on a Bentley. That's Plate in 6th place. We've seen in a endurance race, a lot of things can happen, a lot of things can go wrong. You can be at the front and lead that race for the first 45 minutes and just need to go off the track once, especially here at Misano. Some parts of the track go off, might get lucky, a lot of gravel, a lot of space. Other parts of the track you go off, very unlucky. Some places on this track can be unforgiving. If you get overexcited in a battle and leave your line, you might find your car damaged against some Armco. No change in the top 3, it's still Ferrari, McLaren, Ferrari. Sounds like an F1 race. Except that would be a pretty interesting F1 race if that was the order. Ferrari, McLaren, Ferrari. Your only running Lamborghini in 11th place. That is Gavin. He's ahead of JD, ahead of B Racing. Voucher 14. The Judge. The only GTR Nissan on the night. It's in 15th. And then we have Mike in the second of the 2 McLarens. Having a as good day as his counterpart up front in second. We have lost a driver. Hoping we'd get to the end of the race with 17 drivers. We have lost a driver. It appears to be Voss. Didn't see him leave, but no more do we have 17 drivers, just the 16 on the timing sheets, and that appears to be the name that is missing. So I'm not sure what went wrong there. It's an internet connection, or if that is something else. Nick Leon leads from Sorpresa, 5.3 seconds is the gap now, continues to grow. Sinea in 3rd, he'll see that gap growing and he'll know he needs to take the second place now. 3/10 of a second is the gap between second and third. Wants to get past so he can chase his Ferrari, so he can chase that other Ferrari. Go back to this battle for second place. 3/10 of a second is the gap. Ferrari really wants to get past that McLaren as Nick Leon continues to run off into the distance. 5.7 seconds is the gap, and as these two battle, it's going to make it even easier for Nick Leon to run off into the distance. He had a little bit more pace than both of them as it was, but now with them fighting, going to be able, that gap's going to accelerate away even faster the longer this battle lasts. A little bit more traditional, this Ferrari here in third than the Ferrari in the lead. No neon. Italian flag down the side of a black Ferrari. Thought about going for the inside. Thought better of it. This is fantastic racing between Sorpresa and Sania. Really close stuff. Haven't seen a bump yet, and hopefully we don't see anything like that. In the past does happen. Hope it's a good one. Quite the build up. Other battles on track. Clayton is just behind Eleanor Pace. Mike diving off the circuit there. I'm not sure if he was trying to get out of the way as he was being lapped, but I think he might have got damaged there. Leon still leads. Sorpresa second. Near third. Can't get past that McLaren. Not the easiest track to get by. If you stick to your lines, brake late, you get good traction out of the corners, you can make it very difficult for anyone to get past you. Really just got to stay really close and wait for that mistake. And that's what Sorpresa's doing so well up until this point. He hasn't made the mistake. Clay not far behind Eleanor Pace. Looking to get into the top 5. JD not far behind Gavin. Looking to break into the top 10. And then Boucher could soon also find himself in a battle with B Racing. He's been in the woods. Leon has had a pretty uneventful race. Clear track ahead of him. Bring the lap times in. Cockpit of the man in third. He chases down this McLaren as he has been doing multiple laps now. Just can't find a way through. Like I said, it's really difficult to get past without that mistake. You're braking relatively late, getting good traction out of the corners, and holding the race in line. Misano is not the easiest track to get by on. Oh, it's much much more famously known for bikes. The widest track on the calendar either. Getting really close in the braking point there to Frezzo. They're just getting away there again in the traction, so this gap just yo-yoing back and forth. Let's have a look at the newly installed Helicam. You can get a bit of a better view of this battle. Ferrari versus McLaren. 4/10 of a second is the gap. And no way through at the front. Hour and 5 minutes remain. Hour and 4 minutes to be specific. Getting really close. 3/10 of a second. Really brave on the brakes there. Part of the race circuit. Misano 16 corners on this racetrack. 10 to the right, 6 to the left. Careful of taking that into account when they set up their tyre pressures and all of that. More corners to the right than there are to the left. Chasing. That gap's bigger than we've seen it in a while. Second now the gap. Maybe just backing off a little bit. Maybe overheating the tyres. One driver has made his mandatory stop. He's the second of the two McLarens on track. That is Mike down in 16th place. He has made his mandatory stop. Judge 15th. Everybody else still needs to do that mandatory stop. Back to the front, Nick Leon still leads the race. 9.5 seconds is that gap. Taryn in second, not able to do anything about the gap. Gap just getting bigger and bigger. McLaren also has to worry about the McLaren in front of him getting so far away. He's got to worry about a McLaren about a Ferrari that's right behind him. Also now starting to come up to slower cars to lap them. I believe we won't see any dramas. Gap now really close, 1/10 of a second. Can the Ferrari make the move? Just not getting close enough in the most important parts of the racetrack. McLaren's just able to get away when he needs to. Place hasn't changed throughout the race. This Roadrunner, he's just been very consistent. As has Eleanor Pace, the two Audis running around in 4th and 5th. Just banging in the lap time, finding their own business. Soon things will get interesting. Probably when we reach closer to the 45 minutes remaining mark, cars will begin making their mandatory stops in huge handfuls, and we could see changes in the order. This is some of those cars will have gone off track and will have picked up damage. They will have been driving around with that damage up until now, and some of them might want to fix it in the pit stop. That could translate to a longer pit stop. So we could see this entire order shuffle after the mandatory stops. So all of those guys there in the top 10 still in with an opportunity here. Nothing decided, long way to go. Done 1/3 of this race, got 2/3 of this race to go. Have completed 20 laps so far. Just over an hour. Probably finish at about 50 odd laps, 54, 55, 56, somewhere there. What a long race. 1.5 hours, obviously 90 minutes, all the races this season with a few exceptions. That hot battle for second has calmed down again for the time being. 1.3 seconds is the gap. Just cooling down the brakes, cooling down the tires. Having a rethink at the approach before he has another go. Maybe he's decided it would be best to sit there for the pit stops. He passed the McLaren in the pit stops and cut Nick Leon's gap. How would you cut Nick Leon's gap? I don't think he's got any damage. He's been out there on an open track all by himself, passing the occasional lapped car. There's Max. Fought with the other Porsche for quite some time. Eventually got past. He has now cleared Kuda. That's 5.5 seconds, that gap. Chases down Clay, that's 3.1 seconds. He's in a bit of no man's land at the moment, enjoying some clean air. clear track. We'll also be going to Imola later on in this calendar. And that track is just an hour's drive from Misano. But Misano and Imola an hour apart sounds like a great place to live. B Racing has made his mandatory stop. We're watching him on the pit exit. Accelerate now as he hits that line. Off he goes. Rejoins the circuit. Just behind. Not sure who that is. There we go. Judge 13th, Legend 12th. Archer 11, looking for that top 10 place. Obviously the top 15 all get points. 15th gets 5 points, winner gets 30, and anyone outside of the top 15 will get a point. Excuse the pun, there is a point to finishing. Stay out there. Never know what that point might mean for you later on in the championship. I'll tell you about the championship standings, but there are no championship standings because this is round 1. So this is where it starts. This is the benchmark. You want to get round 1 right, you want to get a good start to the season, get some good points on the table. Interestingly enough, the way the point system is structured, from first to second, from second to third, and so on, there's not a very big deviation in points. So you cannot win the season by winning the first 3 rounds. It's not going to work. You could miss a round and your entire lead could vanish. So the championship is going to go to somebody who is consistently here on a Thursday, and not only here consistently here on a Thursday, also very fast and performing well. Most importantly, missing races with this sort of point system is going to cost you. There's a second still here, cleared the second Ferrari, third place, Sania, 4.2 seconds. So I don't know if he went off track, made a mistake, we didn't see that, but the gap has grown quite substantially in a short amount of time, and that usually points to somebody having some off-track action. To everyone who is watching the stream, and then obviously thanks to everybody who's going to watch the stream later. You know, we get most of our views after the race, we don't get them live. A lot of the guys who could listen to this while driving, they don't, because commentator's purse is a thing. Roadrunner, such a peaceful race in 4th place. He's just maintained his pace consistently. Hasn't been fast enough to find 3rd at any point, but he hasn't been slow enough to fall into the clutches of 5th. Just doing enough to stay there. Hopefully, if the pit stops work out in his advantage, might find himself up in the top 3. Gap between Nismax and Clay coming down ever so slightly. It was 3.3 seconds, I think it was, the last time we checked him. It's 2.8 seconds, so that's come down by half a second. Continues to reel in the man in 6th. So while we're live, while we're on stream, we have to say thank you to the man in 7th place, Nismax. All the graphics you see on your screen were created by him. I simply put them up for you, but he sent me all of this, so shout out to him for all the work behind the scenes making this league happen and getting 17 guys on the grid for round 1. It's not an easy thing to do. So far so good in round 1. Just the one retirement, rather a DNF. That is Foss 13. He started the race in 17. Didn't set a qualifying time and then worked his way up to 14 or 13 the last time I saw. And then suddenly disappeared from our screens. So I'm not sure what happened towards the tail end. But obviously some off-road carnage happened and he decided to leave the lobby. Quickly on, that gap has stopped growing to the McLaren, 9.5 seconds. Good evening Vinze, welcome to the stream. Nice to have your support. Good race the other day, by the way. Vinze in our comment section, one of the drivers who competed for SSR on PC, the Kyalami 24-hour race that took place over the weekend. Nice job by the boys. It's the other drivers that took place in that. There's the man there in 7, that's Nismax. Then 2 drivers that are not here today, you might remember from previous seasons, Devon and not Sebastian. Those are the 4 drivers that did the 24-hour Kyalami race over the weekend. Well done to them. SSR doing well across formats. Multiple formats. Top 3 remain the same. So the top 6 remain the same. As Max has come into the pits, he is sitting stationary. Hear those cars fly past him as he's in the pits. Never a nice feeling. Max Springbok Gamer, Boucher all in the pits. There's Max on his way out. Springbok Gamer has just got it stationary. Boucher on his way in, Legend on his way in. All of a sudden the pit's getting really busy. 45 minutes remaining on the clock. That is halfway distance. And that explains all the commotion. That's the leader. The leader is now coming into the pits. As does Supreza. So first and second. So many cars in the pits now. Roadrunner,
We are
he
halfway
will
through, not over yet.
temporarily get promoted to the lead of this race. Eleanor Pace 4th, Clay 5th, Kuda 7th, JD 8th. We've lost another driver. Not sure who that is. Try and get confirmation for you as soon as these pit stops are all finished. But we have lost another driver. Can confirm we have lost Gavin. Gavin is missing on those timesheets. So we have lost Gavin, we have lost Force from this race. Started with 17 runners, we're down to 15. Means everyone in the race, if you finish, will be within that point structure. And if you finish last, you'll get 5 points. After the race has gone, and we have half the race to go. Half the cars have done their mandatory stop. Still have another 6 cars that still need to do their mandatory stop. 5 of those cars are in the top 5. So Roadrunner leads the race. We'll be enjoying that for a while. Eleanor Pace in 2nd, Clay 3rd, Buda 4th, JD 5th. All of those cars still need to pit. Roadrunner does not pit, he stays out. So does Eleanor Pace. So the Audis stay out, Clay stays out in the Bentley. Let's see, what does Kuda do? Kuda is in 4th, he's in the Porsche. Does he fly into the pits or does he fly around the final corner? He flies around the final corner. So the top 4 have decided to stay out. They have not followed the example of everyone else. Leon is in 6th place. Technically the leader of this race once everyone does their stop. Fraser is in 2nd. He managed to gain a bit of time after those pit stops. That gap was 9.5 seconds. And after the pit stops, just a scratch under 6. Was able to gain 3.5 seconds in the pit stops. That's why I say if you have a really close midfield, those mandatory stops can throw everything out. And still, top 5 remain out on track. Have not made pit stops. Leon doesn't need to worry about running into the top 5 anytime soon. He's 17 seconds adrift. And Roadrunner, the leader, comes into the pits. Eleanor does not follow suit. He stays out, so does Clay. So Eleanor will be promoted to the lead of the race. Clay into 2nd. Roadrunner would have gone up into 3rd, but he's come into the pits. What does Kuda choose to do? Kuda comes into the pits now. JD decides to stay out. So we'll have 3 cars left after this lap that have not done their mandatory stop. And this order should start to look more like the order that was before the pit stops. Nick Leon should regain the lead of this race. 6.1 seconds is the gap to Sorpresa, so he's starting to extend that gap again as he did in the start of the race. Second Ferrari man who started from pole, Sunila 28. Very strong in the first half of this race, then just started dropping off towards the middle. And now after the pit stops, he's quite a ways away from that McLaren. 16.5 seconds is the gap. He was right on top of that McLaren not so long ago, so I think by that evidence he did leave the track, he did get damaged and spent way too much time in the pits. It's costing him now. He's gonna have to have a real sprint race to the end. Leon, provisional leader. Leon 4th in the timesheets, but 3 cars in front of him all need to make pit stops. Eleanor leads the race for now. Will have to come in and make a pit stop. Leads from Clay. 1.8 seconds is the gap. And then JD not too far adrift. Let's have a look at the only real battle on track at the moment. It's B Racing. All over the back of Boucher. 8/10 of a second is that gap. That is the battle for 11th place. Porsche versus Bentley. And Boucher will use the width of that Bentley take full advantage, keep that Porsche there as long as he can. Even overheat the tyres and the brakes, trying to get past. Saw how difficult it is to pass. He did everything he could. Lenore pace, chooses to stay out. So does Clay. So does JD. Top 3 remain the same. With Leon in 4th. Additional leader of the race. Spreza 2nd. And that's what consistency can get you. Roadrunner will provisionally be in 3rd after all said and done. And Sania, that extra time in the pits, it's cost him, it's put him down in 4th. Not far behind the Audi, he can regain that 3rd place. Just 1.5 seconds adrift from a potential podium position. Top 3 playing a very different game. Going later maybe to have the freshest tyres on track at the end. Have that little bit of an edge over their competitors who started much earlier. At this point the tyres at the end of the race could be 4 or 5 laps fresher than some of the guys that came in at 45 minutes. Lenore stays out. So does Clay. So again, there's JD. Audi in 1st, Bentley 2nd, Bentley 3rd. Those 3 cars need to come in. JD now behind Mike. The flags are out. Surely he'll pass him here on the pit straight. Don't make it too easy here. This will be costing the Bentley crucial time as he hasn't made that mandatory stop, and he'll really be wanting to make the most out of these laps. And he spent half a lap behind a lapped car. Surely that will cost him in his pursuit. The Bentley ahead of him. The gap was rather large. Now it's been extended to 29 seconds. Top 2 in a race of their own. Interesting to see where they both come out. Up in 10th place and the only Lexus on the night. Springbok Gamer. As I mentioned him, he runs wide. Commentator's curse is a thing, guys. Roadrunner, 6th place on the road, but provisionally 3rd place. After all is said and done, will he be able to hold on to that 3rd place? That's another question I don't have an answer for. Because Sania is just 1.2 seconds adrift. And he's obviously had that Ferrari repaired, whatever was wrong with it. That's why he spent so much time in the pits. Should have a very fast Ferrari underneath him. He's going to do everything he can to regain that 3rd place. Remember, he started the race from pole, so he would have had high hopes at the start of the race. Those were quickly dashed halfway through lap 1, where he slipped down to 3rd. I was almost certain he'd come back. Just couldn't get into 2nd place, couldn't make the pass, spent multiple laps trying, then made a mistake just before the pit stops. Now he's provisionally in 4th, but he is catching Roadrunner just 9/10 of a second there. Really good racing by everyone so far tonight from what I've seen. So 15 runners out of the 17. If you're one of the people watching the stream and you're not driving, be sure to let me know you're here, say hello, leave a like on the channel, and it's great to have you here. Make a habit of it. Thursday night, Sonic Sim Season 7 will be here for the next 7 weeks. Finishing up at Kyalami, a familiar venue. Finish up at a home circuit. And ironically, Kyalami means home in Zulu. So there we go. We finish off at home. So guys, let me know if you're listening. How's the audio? How's the visual? How's the quality? Is it any good? Is this good going forward into round 2 and 3? If you have suggestions, let me know. We'll see what we can do. And then still out there on 36 laps. To make a mandatory stop. You don't have to change your tires, even though that is recommended. Don't know how good they'll feel at the end of all this. Just over 30 minutes to go. We're in the last half hour. Continues to lead. Plaisel 2nd, JD 3rd, Leon in 4th. Now just 9.5 seconds away from those top 3, or at least the man in 3rd. And Eleanor Pace, he has dived into the pits. Leaderboard will change again. Now Clay has taken the lead of the race. So no pit stop from him just yet. In the Bentley, last running car. Oldest tyres on the racetrack, and he's still doing better than I would with a fresh set of tyres and no damage. Yes, I tried this game in Season 6 and it didn't really end well for me. What was supposed to be a relaxing way to spend my Thursday was only a hour and a half to add to my already intense road rage. Leighton leads from JD. It's a large gap though, 30 seconds between your top two, then Nick Leon in third. Eleanor Pace, he is on the way out of the pits. Cars flying past him. See where he rejoins. He was leading this race, stayed out very late, stayed out much later than the rest, and he's rejoined this race ahead of Roadrunner. No, he hasn't. Apologies, timesheet did not update on time. I saw him rejoin the track in 5th, but he rejoined the track in 7th. Almost got excited there. I was like, how on earth did he steal the podium? But sanity has prevailed. He is in 7th place. Roadrunner still in 5th, still in that potential podium spot. He's able to hold on to this position. He's going to have to keep the pole man behind him. He's not far behind him. Just a second down the road. Any other battles on track? Yes, there are. There's Legend in a Ferrari. He's just behind Boucher. Nothing in it there. He's looking to gain a place. Going to 12th. Every single point in this championship is going to count towards the end. Look for any action out on track. We have two battles out on track. We have a battle for 5th between Roadrunner and Sania, and we have a battle for 12th between Boucher and Legend. Everybody else seems to be very nicely spaced out, carrying on with their own business, waiting for Clay to do his first pit stop. Goes around the final corner onto the pit straight. He does not do his pit stop. Starts lap 39 on the same set of tyres. Surely he knows about the mandatory stop, and this is just going to be a very late stop. Obviously, if you don't do the mandatory stop, you get a penalty. I'm not sure. I've seen it happen only once, and somebody didn't do their mandatory stop and they got a penalty the equivalent of whoever had the longest pit stop in the race. So yeah, I don't know if that is still the same, but the only time I saw that happen, that is what happened. So if somebody in there's got a 2-minute pit stop, that's what your penalty is going to be. It's not advisable. JD still having a solid race in 2nd place, a lonely race. Passing the odd lap car for now. One on his gearbox. Leon is getting closer. 4.7 seconds adrift of JD in 2nd place. Second Ferrari just starting to drop a little bit back from Roadrunner. Moving on to the provisional 3rd place for now. With Bentley 1-2, but both need to pit. A lot of curve there. Tyres can't feel that bad if you're riding the curves like that. 40 laps into this race, 25 minutes remain on the clock. Everyone on the racetrack except for first and second place have made their mandatory stop. We have lost 2 runners during the course of the race. See Gavin and Voss will get no points for tonight, not even participation points for finishing outside the top 15. Gavin has rejoined the lobby. Saw his name pop up. He's sitting in the pits. Presume he's watching the race just as I am. Clayton, now your man in first place, he dives into the pits finally on lap 40. Will JD and the other Bentley follow suit and also jump into the pits, clearing the way for Nick Leon. Springbok Gamer jumps out of the way, and oh no, that's, there we go. Clayton is in the pits, JD is in the pits, and everyone has made their mandatory stop. Clayton on his way out. See where he rejoins after all that. He stayed out on that set of tyres for 40 laps. Till there was just 24 minutes remaining on the clock, where others, but almost 20 minutes ago. Surely he's going to have a bit of an advantage here with fresh tyres towards the end. That should give him a bit of extra pace around the cars around him. A little bit of extra traction coming out of the corners, can be a little bit braver on the brakes. Let's see if that strategy of going late on into the race is going to play to his advantage. Top 3 have taken their rightful places after everybody's done their stops. Nick Leon leads the race as he did before the stops. Prezza's second as he was before the stops. But third place is not as it was before the stops. Roadrunner is third. Clayton fourth now. And Sania down to 5th. Your pole man slowly going down the order. Still holding on for good points. Eleanor now getting interested in that 5th place. And this is where he could have the advantage over the cars around him. He's going to have much fresher tyres. I'm sure those tyres aren't even up to temperature quite yet, but he's going to have much fresher tyres than the cars around him. And Neo's off the circuit. He's off the circuit. Comes back onto the circuit. And 2 cars have gotten by. That was Boucher, the second car. That was a lapped car, unlapping himself. So Sania will have to get past Boucher again. Lap him. And see what he can do about Clayton and Eleanor pace ahead of him. But at the moment, he'll be doing a good job to stay out of the clutches of Nizmax and 7th, who's not far down the road now. He'll be able to see him. Just that sniff of some extra points might be the motivator that Nizmax needs to get him up the road a little quicker. Roadrunner's 3rd place starting to look a little safer now. Clayton 2.7 seconds down the road in 4th. Top 3 looking pretty stable. Nick Leon leads. Prezza's a further 8 seconds back in 2nd. Roadrunner is a further 16 seconds back in 3rd. 24 seconds cover your top 3. So unless there's any fireworks, I don't think we're going to see any changes in the top 3. Also not quite yet decided. 2.2 seconds is the gap. neither is 5th, neither is 6th. Midfield still very undecided with just 20 minutes to go on the clock. So much can happen. Top 3 do look safe. They can just bring it home. And we're back. No changes at the front. Nick Leon still leads. Perez is second. Roadrunner third. Clayton fourth, and he's continuing to fall back from that top 3. 4.5 seconds is the gap. Eleanor hasn't given up on that 4th place just yet. He led this race for multiple laps. Took this car to 40 laps on those tyres. He's going to have fresh tyres. Don't know if that advantage of fresh tyres is going to work as well with Clay. Clay, another one of the cars that pitted very late. In fact, he pitted after Eleanor. Max having his own race, quiet race for now in the Porsche. Surprising to see him in the Porsche. Everyone says the Porsche is quite the challenging car, but seems like he's committed to it for the season, committed to figuring it out. It's 2 seconds adrift of Sinir, the pole sitter. Ferrari leads from a McLaren, from an Audi, from a Bentley. 4 manufacturers in the top 4. One thing to remember in the rules for this season, every driver has 2 cars to choose from. So at the beginning of the season you can basically choose 2 cars. If those 2 cars, for example, are the Ferrari and the McLaren, then you can switch in between the Ferrari and McLaren as you go through the calendar, whichever car is suited best to that particular track. If you although choose a 3rd car going out of your 2 car rule, you will then get a penalty on your points. So it is possible, you can do so if you feel you've made a mistake with your initial 2 cars, but points will be deducted from your championship standings. So if you're hoping to win this championship, then you're going to have to stick to your original 2 cars. Means we could see a lot more Ferrari, Porsche, Audi and Bentley in this season. We saw 3 of each at the start of the race, down to just 2 Audis. Don't have 3 anymore, down to just 2 Bentleys. But we still have 3 Bentleys. 3 Bentleys, 3 Ferraris, 3 Porsches. Those are your most popular manufacturers on the day. No change at the front, Nick Leon continuing to stretch the gap, 2.7 seconds. Preza holding firm in second place. Roadrunner third. Valena in fourth. Clayton in fifth. For any of the listeners or even the drivers that are listening to this, or the drivers that are going to watch this afterwards, they're in the comment section if you would be interested in having a podium interview for the top 3 after the race. I'm uploading this obviously through a computer, so it's not too easy to get the PlayStation guys in the comms box, but there are ways to make it happen. So if people would be interested in us interviewing the top 3 and asking them about the events of the race, let us know. Something we can add to the stream. It just require me to find another USB to plug in another mic. Running out of USBs. We are now in the final stretch of the race. Soon we're going to enter into the final 10 minutes. 15 runners from the 17 that started. Fantastic ratio. It's 2 retirements in an hour and a half. So guys are really committed to finishing these races and picking up these points. Sure, at some of these racetracks, some of the guys we see here in the midfield, we're going to see them a lot further up the order. Some of these guys have racetrack preferences, as well as these cars. Some of these cars just work really well on certain racetracks, so we may get to a Thursday night where we see 3 Bentleys in the top 3. We have a... don't want to comment just yet. I thought it might be the internet, but doesn't seem like it was the internet. I think Nizmax had a off-track excursion. He went off the track there violently, and I think hopes of 6th place have been dashed. He was catching Sania, but now that gap has got away from him, 5.1 seconds, and it will probably increase when he passes the next time beam. .3 seconds. Lap 48. 11 minutes to go. Leon leads from Supreza, 11 seconds. Is the gap. Roadrunner in third. A really interesting start to the race. Nick Leon went off into the distance basically from the start. Left Supreza to fight the second Ferrari for multiple laps. Ferrari couldn't get by and eventually made a mistake, lost a bunch of time. After the pit stops, he's come down the order. He's down in 6th place now. Roadrunner on the other hand, he had a quiet start to the race, just sat in 4th place, put his lap times in, let whatever action around him that needed to happen, and he's found himself a podium place. So there's something to think about. Endurance racing going forward in the season. Can't stay away from all the action. might suit you. Roadrunner now coming up to some lapped cars. Just 2 cars, and it's going to be a bit of a problem to get past here because these guys are probably in a battle of their own. But he gets past the first of the 2, that's B Racing. And now he'll get on the back of this Lexus, Springbok Gamer. And if those 2 were in a battle, I think this whole lapping procedure may have just it's a really difficult situation to be in, especially for Springbok Gamer. You need to let the lap car go, but you have another car behind you that you're racing, and if you give him too much space, both of them will go by. So you want to give the one car space and hope the other doesn't take advantage. But that's exactly what he did. And B Racing gets ahead of Springbok Gamer for the time being. But Springbok Gamer has not given up on that battle. That was a cheeky pass, and he's going to come back at him. 0.3 of a second is the gap. Probably the closest battle on the circuit at this late part in the racetrack of the race. So we'll stay with it for a few laps. See if Springbok Gamer can still 10th place, deny all 3 Porsches the top 10 finish. As mentioned before, 3 manufacturers with 3 cars. Only Porsche have all 3 manufacturers inside the top 10. Ferrari and Bentley each have a car outside the top 10. 7.5 minutes to go. Track looks really busy. Can't really tell what's going on. There's blue flags. Don't know who's ahead, who's behind. It's all complicated. Looks Springbok Gamer, he lost out to B Racing. Very difficult position. You need to let the car lap you, but you know the car right behind him getting a slipstream is for position. So how do you safely let the one go and then block the other? Had to let B Racing go in the end. Now he's got to chase him. 0.7 of a second is the gap. 7 minutes remain on the clock. I say at the beginning of the race, between 54 and 56 laps. I think we might just fall into that broad 3 lap window I predicted. Might get to 54 laps. Really great to see. We've had people on the stream throughout. I saw Thursday night videos do get a lot of views, and a lot of those views come after the race. So hopefully if you're watching this after the race, you've enjoyed the coverage. Let us know what you think of the new setup. Thanks should go to Nizmax for creating what you see on track, for what you see on screen. I don't have the creativity or the patience to create any of these logos, so can't get back past B Racing, can't snatch that position back. It's been trying though. Clock ticks down to 5 minutes. 5 minutes to go. looking for any battles on track. There really aren't any, unfortunately. Closest we've got is for 6th place. Sania trying to come back at Nizmax. 1.5 seconds is the gap. The other battle we have on track is B Racing and Springbok Gamer. Springbok Gamer trying to take that position that got snatched from him while he was letting someone lap him. It's a testament to the quality of the field. Springbok Gamer, not one of the slowest drivers on the track. I can't get anywhere near him, and he's in 11th. So a lot of pace up front. Hopefully it continues for the next 7 rounds. We will have another 2 races right here in Italy. One in Monza, one in Imola. Spreza still holding on to second. It's a safe second place for now. Roadrunner 13 seconds down the road. Don't think he's going to be able to do anything about second place. He's more worried about holding on to his 3rd place. Eleanor, he's in 4th. 1.5 seconds down the road. Now even with just 2.5 minutes remaining, you should watch that gap closely. Remember, Eleanor a bit late, very late, and he might just have a little bit of an advantage on those tyres, and if he's able to extract everything out of it, he might be able to close that 1.5 second gap, and these two will be on top of each other in the final lap. Third place not yet decided. First place and second place look pretty safe. I want to say safe, but this is racing, and not only is it racing, it's internet-based racing, so not only could you make the mistake, your internet could just say no more. But first and second do look pretty safe. Third not safe just yet. 1.5 seconds is the gap. Eleanor will do everything he can in this last minute and a half to extract whatever he can, or will he be happy to finish in 4th behind his fellow Audi? Started off with 3 Audis. Third driver was Voss. He did not complete the race. I didn't see what happened to him. He simply disappeared from our screens. And we also had a solitary Lamborghini.
Okay, the leader is on the final lap now. Give it all you can.
Also not finishing the race. But 15 runners have done the job. And Nick Leon has started the final lap of the race. There's 50 seconds remaining in the race. Obviously that will get down to 0, and when he finishes the lap he's on. Nick Leon, well, he crowned the winner by 15 seconds from Spreza. Roadrunner still in 3rd. That gap 1.3 seconds. Doing all he can. Heartbreaking to lose the podium in the final lap. Got to hold it all together and worry about your mirrors. This man here, Nick Leon, started in 2nd in the Ferrari, had a Ferrari in front of him on pole, managed to get into the lead early on. It's pretty uneventful after that, just did what needed to be done, put the laps in lap after lap, and did exactly what you need to do in an endurance race. Have a fast but uneventful race. He goes around the final corner, and there we go. Nick Leon wins Season 7, Round 1 at Misano. Ferrari is your winner. Nick Leon is your winner. Nicely done. Surpresa now exits the final corner. He will take second place for McLaren. Nicely done. And now we follow Roadrunner and Eleanor Pace. They're in the same frame as they're gonna really close here at the end. Just 0.4 of a second is the gap. And oh goodness, what happened there? Something's happened. Eleanor has gotten past. Eleanor. Our timing screens have not updated, but Roadrunner went off circuit. And Eleanor, it's not saying so on your timing screens, but I'm not sure what happened there. JD not yet finished the race. Waiting for Legend, Boucher and Mike to finish the race. Not yet classified. I can go through the rest of the order for you so far. So my timing screens are jumping up and down. Let's just wait till the guys get in the pits. It seems like everyone at the top is classified. So just to go through that order before these timing screens disappear from our screens. Nick Leon wins the race from Surpresa. Roadrunner did manage to get third place. I'm not sure what we saw at the end there. Maybe a bit of lag. Eleanor getting fourth, really close. Clay in fifth. Nizmac sixth. Then we got Sania in seventh. I need to speak to that guy and make sure I'm pronouncing his name right. He started from pole, finishes in seventh. Went a bit backwards during the race. He'll be hoping for a better round 2 at Zandvoort. Then we got JD in 8th, Kuda 9th, B Racing 10th. Springbok Gamer just outside the top 10, so close. Legend 12th, E-Boucher 13. Then we got Mike 14 and the Judge 15. All of those drivers will pick up points. Judge picking up the minimum points of 5. Nick Leon picking up the maximum points of 30. And then Gavin and Forst would have picked up points if they had finished their races. 1 point apiece, but those are DNFs, not classified. So there we go. SSR. Season 7, Round 1. It's done. And guys can start preparing for next week. Zandvoort it is. I want to thank everybody who's watched, who's spent the last couple of hours listening to me, and everyone who watches this later. Guys, thanks a lot. See you next week Thursday at the same time for Zandvoort Round 2. Enjoy.
Green light, give it all you got.